So, what if the Bible wasn't actually meant to be read as a history book? Today, we're going to explore a completely different way of looking at it, not as a collection of hard facts, but as this incredible library of symbolic stories. Stories designed to show us some really deep truths about, well, the human mind. Let's get into it.
So let me just start by asking you a question. How do you read the Bible? Are you digging for a literal historical record? Or are you looking for something else, something more symbolic? Because honestly, the lens you pick completely changes what you're going to find.
And really, there are two totally different paths you can take here. On one side, you've got the Bible as a history book. It's all about finding a literal record of events, focusing on the historical facts. But on the other side, you can see it as a storybook, a collection of deep, profound wisdom. And on this path, the whole point is to find the symbolic truths. For this explainer, drawing on the work of author Kim Chang-ho, we're going to go down that second path.
Now, to really understand this perspective, we kind of have to do a little time traveling. We need to get inside the minds of our ancestors and really wrap our heads around the logic of ancient stories. Think about it. In a time before everyone was writing things down, stories weren't just for fun. They were basically survival tools. For a story to last, to be passed down through generations, it had to be super interesting, dramatic. These stories were the internet of their day. They transmitted a community's traditions, their customs, their whole identity. And every time a storyteller told a tale, it got a little more polished, a little better. But here's the most important part. The goal wasn't to preserve dry data. It was to pass on real wisdom about life.
So, how does this whole story as wisdom idea connect to the Bible? Well, our source makes this fascinating argument that the entire book is built on what you could call a narrative DNA. It's just two fundamental blueprints that get used over and over and over again.
And that blueprint has a name. It's called an archetype. Think of it as like a master key or the original pattern for something. Once you really understand the archetype, you start seeing it pop up everywhere in all the other stories that were built from it. It's the original model.
Okay, so what are these two core archetypes in the Bible? Well, according to this perspective, they're right there at the very beginning. The first one is the creation story in Genesis 1, and the second one is the story of Eden in Genesis 2. These two tales are basically the foundational DNA for everything else that comes after.
The author, Kim Chang-ho, puts it really bluntly. He says, understanding these two stories is the shortcut to the entire Bible. I mean, that's a huge claim, right? But the idea is that once you get these two original patterns down, you'll start seeing their themes and their structures in tons of other stories. So, for example, think about the creation story, a world being created out of watery chaos. Well, you see that exact same pattern pop up again in the story of Noah's Ark, where a new world comes into being after a massive flood. It's the same blueprint, just a different story.
All right, so if these are the foundational archetypal stories, what are they really about? This is where we make a huge pivot. We shift from seeing them as stories about things happening out there in the world to seeing them as maps for a journey inside of us. This is a journey into consciousness.
So let's just be super clear about what this point of view is saying. The creation story in Genesis, it is not a physics textbook. It's not trying to compete with the Big Bang Theory.
So if it's not a scientific report, then what is it? Well, it's a metaphor. It's a story that's designed to paint a picture of an inner journey. It's a map of how human consciousness evolves, from chaos to order, from darkness to light.
And the tool they use to tell these kinds of stories is the parable. A parable isn't meant to be taken literally, not at all. It's a special kind of story that's built to communicate these hidden, deep truths about our inner world. The kinds of things that are just way too complicated to explain with direct, factual language.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate takeaway. When you approach the text this way, your goal totally shifts. You stop hunting for historical proof, and you start listening for timeless wisdom. It's really about trying to hear the voice of the ancients.
This slide really just lays it all out. When you read for facts, it's easy for your own voice, your own needs and wants to be the loudest thing in the room. But when you read for wisdom, the goal is to quiet down and let the text's voice be the loudest. You're trying to really hear what those ancient storytellers were trying to tell us, and that's how you unlock the timeless truths that a purely literal reading just can't find.
This source uses this amazing analogy. It says when we read these ancient stories only looking for facts, we become like a cheering squad. We're just standing on the sidelines, shouting our support, making our demands, but we're being so loud that we can't actually hear the incredible wisdom that the players,
the ancient storytellers were trying to pass down to us.
And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. If these ancient stories, and not just from the Bible, but from cultures all over the world, are packed with this kind of deep, symbolic wisdom about what it means to be human, what are we actually missing when we only look for the facts? What incredible truths might be waiting for us right there, just beneath the surface?
성서는 단순한 기록이 아냐 인류의 지혜가 담긴 이야기 창조와 에덴 그 뿌리에서 수많은 변주곡이 펼쳐져 공동체의 정체성 지켜 구전의 이야기 속에 숨쉬네 비유로 담긴 여지의 편견을 내려놓고 소통해봐 성서는 신성의 일이야 의식이 지면을 여행해 파편을 넘어선 생명의 노래 고대의 지혜를 발견해 문자 그대로만 읽지 말아요 투영된 지혜를 느껴봐요 에덴의 그림자 속에서 인류의 본질을 찾아가요 공동체의 정체성 지켜 구전의 이야기 속에 숨쉬네 비유로 담긴 옅은 편견을 내려놓고 소통해봐 성서는 신성의 비리야 의식이 신면을 여행해 파편을 넘어선 생명의 노래 고대의 지혜를 발견해